In this video, you will learn about XGBoost for a regression problem. We will work on a bike rental dataset. In this data, we are provided hourly rental data of bikes for 2 years. Let's go to the website and check the data description. So here you will see that we have provided the hourly rental data and it is spanning for 2 years. The training set is comprised of first 90 days of each month, while the test set is the 20th to the end of the month. For example, here it is saying that from Jan to December there are 12 months, and in every month we have 30 or 31 days. So out of 30 or 31 days, training data will have only data from 1st to 19th of every month, and test data will have data only from 20th to the last day of the month, that could be 30 or 31, and in case of Feb it could be 28 or 29. And what is the goal? The goal is to predict the count of bikes rented during each hour. So this is the goal here. We have to predict the count of bikes, that is how many number of bikes have been rented during each hour. Let's go to a Jupyter notebook and start working on this data set. In Jupyter notebook, I will import some libraries that are needed for this XGBoost regression problem. First, I will import pandas as PD. Then I will import numpy as np. Import numpy as np. Let's execute our code. Now I'm going to make one variable df, and in that I will save the data set df. I'll call pd.read_csv. So I'm calling this function read_csv from pandas, and inside this I will pass my dataset name. My dataset name is bike rental.csv. Let's execute our code. Let's look at the top 5 rows of a data frame, and to look at the top 5 rows we will type the head method. I will write df.head. In the output you can see we got the top 5 rows starting from 0 up to 4, and these are the column. And this first column is by default, we can remove this column is of no use. The other columns are instant, date, time, season, year, month, holiday, weekday, working day, and etc. Here we have this column count, and we have to predict this column, that is how many bikes rented during each hour. So this is our y variable, and rest of all these variables are x variables. Let's also look at the bottom 5 rows, and to look at the bottom 5 rows we will use the method tail. I will type df.tail, and in the output you can see we got the bottom 5 rows. I'll just put the parentheses here for better information. And now you can see these are the bottom 5 rows of a data frame. We can also look at the shape of a data frame to understand how many rows and columns we have. I will type df.shape. In our data frame we have total 731 rows and 17 columns. We can look at the column names. I will type df.columns, and these are the list of columns that are present in our data frame df. And I have already told you that count is our target variable or y variable. We have to predict the count of bikes rented during each hour. Let's also check if there are any missing values in our data frame. I will type df.isNull. This will check the if whether there are any missing values in our data frame or not. Then we will sum that. So we will use one more function along with this. I will write dot sum. So it will take the sum of all the missing values and it will give us the output. Let's execute our code. And here you will see we got some missing values here. In column year we have 1, in month we have 1, in humidity we have 3, wind speed 5, temp 1. So there are total 12 missing values, and we can remove that because if we remove 12 samples it will not affect our data frame because it's a very small amount. So I will remove the missing values, and to remove the missing values we will use the method drop_na. I will call our data frame df, then I will call the method drop_na. Inside this I will pass one parameter, and the parameter is in place is equal to true. So this will take effect on the original data frame. Let's execute our code. So we have dropped all the missing values and we can check that. I will copy this code from here and paste it here to check whether we have any missing values or not. And now you will see that we got 0 0 everywhere, we don't have any missing values. And if you compare it with the earlier one, you will see in wind speed we have 5, in humidity we have 3, and here you will see in wind speed 0, humidity 0, and everywhere it is 0 because we have removed all the missing rows from our data frame. Let's check the descriptive statistics and we can use the method describe. I'll call our data frame df and then I will call describe. This will give us the descriptive statistics. Let's execute our code. And in the output, you will see that we got the descriptive statistics here. We have count, mean, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, and maximum. And we got the descriptive statistics for all the numerical columns. For categorical columns, we won't get, and we are given all the information. For example, for let's look at count because we are interested in the variable count here. So there are total 721 rows, and then these are the other informations such as the mean and standard deviation. So mean is 4513 and the standard deviation is 1944. We can also get the information about the data frame using the method info. I will type df.info, and in the output you can see we got some information about our data frame df. So we have such as information such as columns. Here we have column names, then we have non-null, then we have count and the data type. For example, let's look at the column date time. So this date time, the data type is object, which is wrong because date time should be in the format of date time. So we will convert this variable date time into date time from this object. And here we have non-null count, that is if there are any missing values. So there are no missing values. Here you will see we have total 721 entries, and everywhere here you can see that we got 721 because there are no missing values here. Next we will convert datetime column to datetime format. Here you can see that this datetime is not in the proper format, it is showing us as object and we need to convert this. So let's convert it. I will call our data frame df. Inside this I will put our column name, and our column name is datetime. So in single quotes or double quotes we can type our column name. I will write datetime, and then from pandas I will call the method to underscore datetime, then df of datetime. So this will convert our data frame, our variable into a datetime format. For that, first we need to import this function datetime. So I will write here import datetime. Now let's execute our code. So this is one way of doing it, and there is one more way. I'll show you. Df of datetime dot apply. We are applying the method, and inside this we will pass pd to datetime. Then we will pass one parameter infer underscore datetime underscore format is equal to true, and errors is equal to cause. Let's execute our code. So now our column datetime has been converted into datetime. Here you can see data type, D type is datetime 64. And if I run this code again, here first you will see here datetime is object. If I run this code again, you will see now it has converted to datetime 64 ns. So we can perform any datetime operation on this variable. If you look at the data frame, I'll write df.head. In this you will see that we are already given some variables such as the month, holiday and weekday. So it has already extracted information from this variable datetime. So now this datetime variable is of no use because the information have been already extracted. We are going to drop this variable now. So I will write df is equal to df dot drop, and we want to drop the column date time, and we have to pass the axis. So for column name the axis is 1, and for rows the axis is 0. I will type axis is equal to 1 because we are dropping the column name. Let's execute our code. Now I'll check again the head, df dot head, and now you will see that the datetime column has been dropped from this data frame. We don't have that column anymore. We will also drop columns casual. We have column here casual and register because both of these columns are not required. So I'll call our variable df, then I will call df dot drop, and I will make a list this time because when you are dropping more than one variables you have to pass those variables in a list. And if you see above here, I have directly passed the variable datetime because there we have only one variable, but now we want to drop two variables, the casual and register. So we have to make a list first, and inside the list we have to pass the variable names. I will type casual. We are dropping these two variables because they are not important for the model development, and the next variable is registered, and the parameter we have to pass is axis is equal to 1 because both these columns are in axis 1. Let's execute our code. Let's look at the head of our data frame again, and now you can see that we don't have the other two columns, the casual and registered. Here you will see we don't have date time, casual and register because those were additional columns, we did not require them. Now we are going to split our data frame df into train and test for the model building. So let's split our data, split data. I'll make one variable x and I will call our data frame df. I will call the method ILOC, and inside this I will pass colon here. This means I want all the rows, and now I want all the columns except the last one. Here you will see count. This is our target variable or the y variable. We want to predict the count of bikes rented per hour, so we are not going to take this variable into our x. So that's why here I will type I want all rows, this stands for all rows, except, and I want all columns. For all columns I will type this column except the last column, and for that I will type -1 because indexing from the last start with negative, so the index number of count is -1, this wind speed -2, humidity -3, and so on. So here I am saying that I want all rows and all columns except the last one, so this will not be included in our x variable. Then I will make y variable. This will have the target variable. I will call df dot ILOC, and I want all rows, and this time I want only the last column, the count one, so I will type just -1 here. This -1 will give me the last column only, and here colon -1 will give me all the column except the last one. Let's execute our code. So we have two data frame now, x and y. I will show you x dot head. So in x you will not see count variable. Here you will see we don't have the count variable. Now I will type y dot head. In this you will see only count variable, and here you will see this is the count variable. Name here count, data type is integer 64. Now we are going to split the data set into train and test. Here we have made two data frame, x and y. The next step is to split them. So I will call variable, I'll make variables x train, x test, y train, and y test. So we will have x train, x test, y train, and y test. Then inside this I will pass the data frame x and y, and to split we will use the method train test split. I will call train test split, and I will pass our data frame x and y, and then I will pass one parameter random state is equal to, you can put any number here. I will put 100. If you want your result to be same as mine, then you have to put 100, otherwise you can put any number here. And before calling this code, I have to import this function train test split. So I will type from sklearn dot model underscore selection import train test and split. Now let's execute our code. So we have successfully split our dataset into training and test. Next we will import the algorithm XGBoost regressor. I will type from XGBoost import XGB regressor. Let's execute our code. Let's instantiate the class XGB regressor. I will make one object XG underscore regressor reg, and then I will call this class XGB regressor. Let's execute our code. Now we are going to fit this object on our training data set. So I will call this object XG underscore reg, and from this I will call the method fit, and we are going to fit it on the training data set. So I will pass xtrain and ytrain. Let's execute our code. We have fitted the algorithm on our train data set, and here you can see XGB regressor, and these are the hyperparameters such as base score, booster, then we have missing and so on. So these are the hyperparameters. Now next we are going to make predictions and save in a variable. So I'll make one variable y underscore pred. This will save the predictions here, and then I will call the object xg, and from this I will call the method predict. So this predict method will help us in prediction, and we want to make prediction on the x test. So I will pass our variable x underscore test. Let's execute our code. So we have successfully made predictions and saved in this variable ypred. We can also look at that. I will type ypred. So these are the predictions for each and every samples that are present in the test data set. Next we have to calculate the mean square error, and I will import that from sklearn. So I will type from sklearn.metrics import mean square error. Let's execute our code. I'll make one variable MSC. In this I will save the mean square error number, and I will call this method mean square error. Inside this I will pass our ytest and ypredict. So I will type ytest and then ypred. Let's execute our code. So we have calculated the mean square error and saved in this variable MSC. Let's print the MSC value. I will type print MSC percentage 0.2f percentage MSC. Let's execute our code. So this is our mean square error, and this number indicates the mean square error for our XGB regressor here. And you can see this regressor, we have this mean square error. Let's compute the root mean square error. Root mean square error is nothing but the square root of this mean square error. So I'll make one variable RMSC, and then from numpy I will call square root because it is the square root of MSC. So I will pass our variable MSC. Let's execute our code. Let's print RMSC now. RMSE percent 0.2f. 0.2f here indicates that we want the result to be in 2 decibels, not more than that. Then RMSC. Let's execute our code. The RMSC is 622.02, and next we can also do the cross validation, because to increase the accuracy of our model, cross validation is very important. So this model was done using the XGBoost regressor, and we want to improve the accuracy for this model. So for that we will use the cross validation technique. Let's import from sklearn.model selection. We will import cross val score, and this will help us to do the cross validation. Let's instantiate the XGB regressor. I will make one object model, then I will call XGB regressor, and this time inside this I will pass one parameter. The parameter is objective, and here the objective is we want to get the squared error. Let's execute our code. Now let's apply the tenfold cross validation on our model and save in a new variable. I'll make one variable scores. Now I will call cross val score method. Inside this I will pass our object model, and then I will pass the data frame x and y. Then I will pass one parameter scoring, and this will have negative mean square error, and then I will pass one more parameter cv, and this will be like how many times you want to do the cross validation. I want to do it for 10 times, so I will write 10 here. The optimal number is 10 for all those who work on the machine learning and they want to do the cross validation. They put 10 as the optimal number. If you want, you can change it, you can make it 5, 15 or 20, so on. Let's execute our code. We got this warning here because I have made one small mistake here. I have to type d here, squared error. So instead of double e I have to type e. Let's execute our code again, and now you will see it has run successfully. Now I'll just run this variable scores, and here you can see I got the scores, and all the scores are in negative because we have asked this cross validation to give us the result in negative. Here you will see negative mean square error, and then we can calculate the root mean square error. So I will type RMSE is equal to np dot square root of these scores. Let's execute our code. Here I have to put negative sign here because all the scores are negative. Let's execute our code. Let's print our variable RMSE. In the output you can see we got the RMSE score. We have 733, 751, 518, 708 and so on. So this RMSE should be as low as possible. If you compare it with the earlier one, earlier we got 622, and here in the cross validation you will see that the minimum is 518. So after cross validation it went down from this 622, it went down to 518. So cross validation helps you to improve your accuracy, and this can also help your model to make better prediction. Whenever you are developing any model, it is better if you apply the cross validation techniques. It will definitely help you to get higher accuracy. This video was about XGB regressor in Python. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.